The knives in your planer are secured with blade holders and a series of screws. The screws pass through the blade holders into the cutter head. Over time, the screw head can be stripped out, either from repeated removal or a screw that is stuck in the cutter head due to corrosion. Removing a screw with a stripped head can be challenging, so it is a good idea to replace a screw at the first sign the head is wearing. Replacing the cutter head screws is a repair that you can do yourself, and I'm going to show you how.
Hi, I'm Mark Socha.
Do-it-yourself repairs like these are easier than you might think. From lawn machines to cordless drills, kitchen mixers,
Outdoor grills.
our how-to videos walk you through each repair from start to finish. So doing it yourself means never having to do it alone.
Let's get started.
I'll begin by removing the top cover from the planer. It's secured with 4 screws. I can use the wrench that came with the planer for replacing the knives to remove these screws. Now I have access to the dust shroud, and I can go ahead and remove it. It's secured with the 3 red knobs. Once the knobs are removed, I lift the shroud slightly and then just pull it to the side. With the shroud removed, now I have access to the cutter head. The first thing I want to do is rotate the cutter head around so I can begin removing the screws. I'll push the cutter head lock down and use the wrench that came with the planer to carefully rotate the cutter head. Once I have one of the clamping bars pointing up towards me, I'll release the cutter head lock and just double check and make sure that the cutter head locked into place. And that looks good. Now I'll inspect each one of the screws and replace any screw that looks worn. If a screw is completely stripped out, it can be difficult to remove. There's a couple of ways you can do it. You might try using a rotary tool to grind a slot across the head of the screw, and then try using a flat blade screwdriver to remove it. If that doesn't work, you may have to drill out the stripped out screw head until it comes off. Then remove all of the other screws. Once the knife and lock bar are removed, you can use a pair of vice grips to remove the stem of the screw. Here I found a screw that's worn, and I'll go ahead and replace it. I'll use the wrench that came with the planer to remove it. I want to make sure that the wrench is seated firmly on the screw so I don't strip it out any further. And now I can install the new screw. I'll thread it into the cutter head. Be careful working around the cutter head because there are exposed knives and they're very sharp. Now I'll use the wrench to secure the screw. And I'll continue to inspect the cutter head, replacing any screw that looks worn. Now I can reinstall the dust shroud. I'll align the mark that indicates that the shroud is open with the mark on the blower housing. Then I just push the shroud into the blower housing and rotate it down. And now I'll secure it with the 3 red knobs. And I'll finish up by reinstalling the cover. And that's how you install a new cutter head screw on your planer. Be sure to check back often for new videos and expert advice. If you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up.
And leave a comment.